Most foreigners who fail in the Philippines won't tell you they failed. They won't upload goodbye videos. They won't post apologies. They quietly disappear. One day they're posting beach sunsets and smiling selfies, and the next day their accounts stop updating. This story is about why that happens, and why it almost happened to me too. When I first arrived, I believed the same dream everyone believes. Cheap living, friendly people, endless summer. A place where problems disappear and life finally slows down. It all looked easy through screens and highlight videos. I thought the hardest part would be the visa. I was wrong. The first mistake most foreigners make is thinking money alone will protect them. If you come with savings, you feel invincible at first. Every meal feels cheap. Every rent bill sounds manageable. Every taxi ride feels like a bargain. What no one prepares you for is how quickly confidence turns into carelessness. When money feels easy, discipline fades. Budgets disappear. Boundaries weaken. You stop tracking where your income actually goes. And slowly, without noticing, comfort becomes dependency. The Philippines doesn't drain you quickly. It drains you quietly. The second mistake is thinking friendliness means safety. People here are genuinely warm, but that doesn't mean everyone has good intentions. The lines between kindness, obligation, and opportunity blur fast. Some people will help you without needing anything. Others will test how much you're willing to give. Many foreigners don't fail because they're scammed once. They fail because they're bled slowly through small, emotional obligations they never learned how to refuse. One emergency turns into 5. One favor turns into responsibility. And suddenly, you're financially supporting lives that were never meant to depend on you. Another silent killer is loneliness. At first, everyone wants to meet you. You're new. You're interesting. You're different. But novelty fades. The crowd thins. Real friendships take time. Many foreigners never survive that gap between attention and belonging. Nighttime is where the truth shows up. When the streets quiet down and messages stop coming in, your thoughts get louder. Distance from family starts to hurt in unexpected ways. You miss weddings you never thought you'd care about. You miss funerals that arrive through phone screens. You miss holidays that feel empty without familiar voices. Some foreigners solve loneliness with relationships. That works beautifully for some. For others, it becomes their fastest exit. Dating here moves quickly. Families get involved early. Future expectations appear before you feel ready. When two cultures collide under pressure, misunderstandings grow fast and forgiveness runs thin. Many men arrive believing love will fix the confusion they feel inside. But love in a foreign country doesn't remove pressure. It multiplies it. Emotional needs collide with financial expectations. Cultural habits clash with personal boundaries. And what felt magical at first begins to feel heavy. Then there's the ego trap. Back home, many foreigners were average. Here, they feel elevated. More attention, more admiration, more curiosity. That feels intoxicating at first. Then it becomes dangerous. When your identity starts depending on how others see you, one bad week can break you. Another reason foreigners fail is health. Not just physical illness, mental fatigue. The constant noise, the heat, the unpredictability, the simple stress of not fully understanding everything around you. Over time, it wears on your nervous system. Some people grow stronger from it. Others slowly shut down. Medical care scares many foreigners more than they admit. Even minor sickness feels heavier when you're far from home. Not just because of the clinics, but because vulnerability hits differently when you're alone. That fear quietly pushes many people back home. Then there's the illusion of escape. Some foreigners don't move to the Philippines because they love the Philippines. They move because they hate their old life. They're running from debt, divorce, failure, burnout, or shame. But geography doesn't erase pain. It only delays it. When the distractions fade, the same unresolved issues return. And now you're facing them without your old safety nets. No familiar coworkers. No family nearby. No lifelong friends to call at midnight. Only silence and time. Another trap is overconfidence with visas and legality. Many foreigners think everything will work itself out. They ignore fine print. They overstay plans. They trust verbal promises instead of written rules. Eventually, deadlines arrive. and panic always costs more than preparation. Some people fail simply because they never adapt. They compare everything to home instead of learning to live where they are. The food is wrong. The service is slow. The systems feel broken. The rules feel illogical. They spend years arguing with reality instead of learning how to move within it. Others fail because they adapt too much and lose themselves. They abandon discipline completely. Sleep schedules disappear. Drinking becomes routine. Motivation fades. Days blend together. What felt like freedom slowly becomes stagnation. Then there's the social media failure nobody talks about. Some foreigners build their identity online around perfect life abroad. They can't admit when things go wrong because it would collapse the image they created. So they suffer in silence behind curated positivity. When the money runs low, the relationship struggles, or the health declines, they don't ask for help publicly. They disappear quietly. And viewers are left believing paradise continues forever. That I watch foreigners leave without notice. Some packed overnight. Some sold everything in days. Some borrowed tickets home. None posted explanations. Pride doesn't like endings. Those who survive long-term all share the same quiet traits. Not wealth, not fame, not confidence, patience, humility, adaptability, the ability to sit in discomfort without collapsing. They learn the language slowly and badly, but they keep trying. They learn local routines instead of fighting them. They plan for emergencies instead of hoping they won't happen. They respect their own limits instead of pretending they don't exist. The ones who stay understand that the Philippines doesn't owe them a dream. They arrive as guests, not heroes. They build slowly. They lose fast when they rush. The hardest lesson is this: the Philippines doesn't destroy people. It reveals them. It magnifies their discipline or their chaos, their patience or their anger, their humility or their entitlement. People who fail here usually failed long before they boarded the plane. They just didn't know it yet. For a long time, I didn't know which side I would land on. I struggled. I doubted. I nearly left. Not because the Philippines was cruel, but because it was honest. It forced me to see myself clearly without distractions. The reason some foreigners never admit failure is because failure here feels louder. Going home feels like retreat, like proof that the dream was false. But the truth is simpler. Not every life is meant to be rebuilt in the same place. There is no shame in leaving. The shame comes from pretending the experience didn't change you. Some of the strongest people I met left. Not because they were weak, but because they were honest about what they needed. Some of the weakest stayed because they were afraid to admit misalignment. Success abroad isn't about surviving storms. It's about knowing which storms to walk through and which ones will break you. If you're watching this and planning to move to the Philippines, don't just ask how cheap it is. Ask how patient you are. Ask how honest you are with yourself. Ask how you respond when nobody rescues you. The Philippines will not ruin you, but it will not hide you either. And that is why so many foreigners fail here, and why so few are willing to admit why.